Say just here.
We're still whacked from budget.
Sitting on the floor. A little better.
Well, we got it done.
Yeah, it's done.
All right, let's call this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Committee to order. The deliberative meeting, item number 1, Scholar Ridge Estates, 2689 County Road, I, Town of Clayton, zoning map amendment.
Staff report is as follows. Chapter 23 is the applicable ordinance. There was no response from the town of Clayton. 2 town findings were as follows. There was no response. 3, there were no objections. 4, proposed use is compatible with adjacent lands. Recommendation is for approval.
Okay, thank you. Accept the motion.
Well, I don't know if I should, but I'll make the motion if it gets on the table, so.
I guess I'll second it just because I want to discuss it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and I'm guessing we can start off with. No. Or Maribeth.
And I don't want to take the air out of your sails, but I want to ask the question. What if we don't approve the zoning map amendment? I want to know what happens to this whole scenario.
Then the subdivision would not be able to be
Approved.
passed, right?
Okay,
Approved,
and that shuts her down.
right.
It doesn't refer this back to anybody?
No,
Why would it shut down the development? If, I'm assuming that this zoning map amendment is to accept that into shoreland zoning.
correct.
If we don't accept that into shoreland zoning, the town has already approved this subdivision.
The DNR already made it shoreland, period.
Well, then what are we doing approving it? If we have no authority over it, why are we approving it?
We have authority over it based on the DNR's.
Then what is this motion for? If it's a done deal,
It's not a done deal.
well, one time you said it, I'm having a hard time understanding this. Either we have the authority to reject it into shoreland or we don't.
We don't have the authority to reject shoreland, period. That was the DNR
Okay.
decision.
Then this item is not necessary.
Yes, it is because it was non-shoreland prior to the initiating of the development, which meant the map was white. Now the map is shoreland and there needs to be a zoning district under that overlay.
Yeah, but you just said we have no authority to reject it.
No, we have no authority to reject the zoning as far as that being the delineation of that being a wetland. We have no
Shoreland.
or shoreline. We have no authority over that being a shoreline. But because they have said that that's a shoreland, now we have authority over that land as far as zoning goes. And that's what we're dealing with here today is the zoning. We're not dealing with the decision by the DNR that they made it a wetland. We're dealing with the repercussions. I don't want to say repercussions. What happens because they delineated it as a wetland
Shoreland.
or shoreland. I want to keep saying wetland.
So there needs to be a county zoning district in that shoreland area where there is currently no county zoning district.
I'm having a hard time understanding that. Because I don't want to go on record as approving that into shoreland. Because I don't think it has any business being in shoreland.
That's not our decision. That was made
Well,
by the DNR.
That's fine. If the DNR made that decision, let them stand by that decision. I don't see what this committee, to me, we are either agreeing with it or we're not agreeing with it. And I don't agree with
You're
it.
not making a decision on whether or not it's shoreland. The DNR already
Okay.
made,
then what are we making the decision
There
of?
needs to be a zoning district within that shoreland boundary. Where there is currently no county zoning jurisdiction.
Am I the only one that doesn't understand this?
If
It's
we,
convoluted.
if we do nothing, it stays as shoreland. And they can't build on it because
There's no zoning
there's
district.
no zoning district there. It's a new zoning district that because of the DNR's decision, they created in an area where it wasn't before.
But here's my point. It's just an iota of that whole subdivision. What we're looking at as part of ours, the shoreland delineation because of the conservancy ditch, I'll call it for lack of anything else. We're a tiny bit of that whole project.
That's correct.
So that's why I asked you what would happen if we didn't vote for this. You're saying the plat doesn't get approved because they had to reconfigure with their engineer architect that plat based on that being entitled shoreland by the DNR back to you in the county to take care of it. Our perspective of what we're taking care of in that whole plat is tiny. There isn't gonna be any building in that area. Close to adjacent, that's been addressed by them redoing their plat map. You following what I'm saying? We're an iota of this whole thing. But because if we vote this down, we're leading to the end scenario here, the final plat doesn't get approved.
That's correct, but if the zoning change is denied, we're gonna have to come back as a county with another. Suggestion of a zoning change, because the minute the DNR deemed that shoreland, that put it in the county zoning jurisdiction.
Correct,
Before that, it was town zoning.
correct.
But once the DNR determined that is navigable, we as a county have to put some sort of zoning district in that shoreland area, period.
As it stands, that's the normal process. It is because they came, but I don't remember them ever doing this before.
This is like a first time we've had this and.
And so
almost ever.
the DNR making that statement to you, your department, they are more powerful than you are.
They have the authority to deem any body of water navigable or non-navigable.
Mhm.
Prior to this proposal of this development, it was town zoning.
Correct.
The minute the DNR made that determination, which we have no authority over, we have to have some sort of a zoning district in that area because currently there is none in our, as a county jurisdiction.
Right, I understand it. So are they basing it, are they on NR 115? Or are they just on that? We are gonna brush, it feels to me like the DNR is saying, nah, we changed our mind here, we want the county to handle this.
It's our responsibility to map once the DNR did.
Once they
that's now.
decide,
Yeah.
so you got a power player here
Yeah.
saying, you guys have to do
We
this.
have-
Cause we wanna get rid of it. That doesn't make it right.
If we have no choice in the matter, why are we voting on it?
You're not voting on whether or not it's shoreland.
Mm-mm.
The minute the DNR deem that shoreland, which we have no authority over, we have to, as a county, have some sort of a county zoning jurisdiction district in that shoreland area. We're not making a decision on whether or not it's shoreland. That's been
Right,
done.
right, that's been done.
And the minute they made that determination, we as the county have a response. We have no choice. There has to be a county zoning district within that shoreland area. We're not voting on whether or not it's shoreland.
No,
That's
I
been
know, I
done.
understand that, I understand that, I'm with you on that. But the part that you're gonna have control of is minute compared to that whole,
I mean, it's 300 feet on both sides of the
yeah.
ditch or.
It's
stream.
minute, but at the end of the day, we as the
You
county,
have-
we have to have some sort of a zoning district.
And you have to keep watch over that to make sure that that's all adhered to as per the shoreline.
Right.
I guess for,
you know, and what bothers me about this, okay? Across that strip of land, it's 1,700 feet, the creek supposedly travels. In that 1,700 feet, the elevation drop is 21 feet. Okay,
Mhm.
that's an elevation drop of, works out to be 65 feet per mile. In a 100-year flood, there wouldn't be enough water in that ditch to float a canoe. Because of the land area above that is minute. Okay, you put this in perspective, an elevation drop of 65 feet per mile, okay? The elevation difference between Lake Winnebago and Lake Poygan, where they monitor the elevation all summer long, it has been 3 inches. That's less than 1/4 of an inch per mile. Okay. The Fox River through Appleton, where it drops the most, where you've got dams and rapids, it's 6.5 feet per mile. There's not going to be enough water in this ditch. I don't care what the DNR says, they're wrong. I understand we can't change what they said, but I don't want to go on record as condoning what they said. If we have to live with it, then I don't see what we're voting on. If you say it's a done deal, there's nothing for this committee to decide.
Yes, Tom.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Waco Creek, all this and that. But it
Yeah,
isn't really whether it's a creek or a stream or an ocean. They said, this is what it's gonna be. So in order for us to give, so they can build or whatever, or even be close to it, we have to go ahead and do a zoning permit, and that's what we're here for, is zoning. It has really nothing to do with that creek or whatever. They said, we're going to make this a navigable stream. So we might as well make our mind up to that. As much as we don't like to,
yeah,
I would be right on your side.
yeah,
But we have to do the zoning to go ahead so they can finish on with whatever they want to do. And if we don't have a zoning in that area, it'll be stopped. They just can't do anything there. As much as I agree with you here
Yeah.
again, this is
yeah,
our job. It's
yeah,
something, something in zoning that's got to be done as far as the waterway. And one way we can forget about that, because the DNR has come in and said, that is. These guys here did, the DNR did. And of course, we all know how the DNR is. We can argue with them all day long. But we've got to do something for zoning. So this plat, or whatever you want to call it, can continue on, Scholar Ridge Estates, so they can continue on to go ahead and do their development out there. And like I said, I can agree with you all day long. I don't agree with the DNR always, but this is something at this table, we've got to decide whether we're going to go ahead and give this zoning permit. Forgetting about the waterway or whatever. I guess that's where we sit right now. And I'm not arguing with you because I agree with you.
I understand.
Go ahead, Sean.
so being elected, knocking on the 500 doors, getting print material to every single house. There is a very big distrust of government right now. Big time. And what happens is DNR is the authority. And then I feel trapped. And it sets a precedent. It just sets the precedent, you know, well, let's make sure that they can continue with their development. But I feel I am suspect of government overreach overall. I'm not saying anything about the county department. But the DNR has to be aware of how elected people are feeling. You know, I don't always want to feel like I'm just being put into a corner. Okay, well, I don't want to make the developer mad. I don't want to make county government mad. So, okay, I'll do it. And that's how I feel. I feel an overreach here. Especially because you do have experience on water, and that is pretty powerful. So why are they doing that? It's control to me.
Keep in mind, this committee approved the preliminary plat.
Yeah,
One of those conditions was to get this zoning change. So if you deny this zoning change, you're going against a condition that this committee approved a month ago.
yeah, because this committee was told kind of the same thing. You kind of have to do it. So I didn't want to vote
It's
for
not
it then.
kind of. We have to have a zoning district within that shoreland area. So if you deny this one, staff is gonna come back with another one next month.
Oh, I kind of had to vote, and I didn't have to vote for that, and I did. So I'm talking about myself and my decision on that.
And that's fine, but this committee approved a preliminary plat with the condition that they needed the zoning change for what they're proposing now. This committee made that a decision when they approved or when you approved the preliminary plat. And again, if you deny this zoning change, staff is gonna come back with another one next month because we have to have a color on the map for what's in our jurisdiction.
So where is the discussion with DNR? With the
There is-
locals?
There is none.
Yeah,
First of all, I don't disagree that I don't think that that's a navigable body of water. At the end of the day, that's the DNR's purview. They deemed it navigable, which puts it into our jurisdiction.
And the owners decided not to fight it. So they were well aware that they could ask for some other interpretation, but they didn't. They bit the bullet and are going this route.
so you're saying that the owners were given full information that they could fight it, they could argue it.
They knew they can fight anything.
Cause that's my concern of the next application and the next, and pretty soon you've got shoreline zoning districts all over. And then what's gonna happen under certain administrations, not the county? I don't know.
So is this just across this strip of property?
No, it extends to the adjacent properties and will most likely be coming back with a zoning change to address those areas.
But this is just across this property.
Yes, the proposal is just for these properties.
Is there a chance in between here if we voted this down, that the owner takes some?
If you
legal-
vote it down, it goes against what you've already approved.
I know, but people change their minds. When you get more information, sometimes you change your mind.
At the end of the day, the DNR determined this is navigable. We
Got it.
have no
Got it.
say in that. Which then means we as the county have to have some sort of a zoning district within those shoreland areas, period. You can deny it all you want, but we'll keep coming back with a proposal because we have to have a zoning district in that shoreland area, period. We don't have a choice. We're not making a determination on the DNR's decision whether or not
Right.
you're gonna approve or that's a done deal. And we suggest, the first conference call we had with the applicant and the owner, we suggested to them to have the DNR come back out and take a look at it again. They didn't do that. So it's shoreland, period.
Yep, because the owner had the opportunity to make an appeal or discuss with the DNR.
They
He
had
What-
chose
months to
not
do
to.
so.
How much watchdogging is gonna be necessary here to make sure that nothing happens that can't be allowed in this? I mean, how much time are you guys gonna? Or are you confident with this plat layout that won't happen, that there won't be going over the boundary of any construction into the designated shoreland? You know what I'm saying?
In the 75-foot setback.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, we
You-
keep pretty
you have
close
to
eye
watch.
on that. They also have a variance that was approved, last month?
Mhm.
To cross that stream and, 2 portions. So that's been approved by the Board of Adjustment. To allow for the expansion, to allow for all this to occur. It was one of the steps they had to go through.
So they've been through the Board of Adjustments.
They've been through the Board of Adjustment and that was approved.
I guess I just wanna say, I don't think there's any of us here that likes DNR. I mean,
I don't like what they did in this situation.
Nope, me neither.
well, we have a good idea of what happens with them with, what we've got going on with the, boat launch for the sheriff right now too, and as far as right across the river from that, we have where the Pioneer used to stand. So I mean, we have a couple of things right there in the mouth of the river that we can pull out right away. But this, at the end of the day, this has to be zoned by the county. And we have to make that decision on how it's going to be zoned, because this is the committee that does that. And as much as we can all dislike the DNR, we all are here about the zoning. And that's what we need to vote on, and you can vote up or down in your for if you disagree with the whole process, but at the end of the day, this affects these developers who had their opportunity to go back and have it looked at again, who've had their opportunity if they wanted to proceed legally against this. They have not chosen to. I don't know. At some point, I don't want to be the Don Quixote in the development. And that's not saying that's not, and I'm not using that to put anybody down. It's just, that's not what this amendment's about. And we can have that discussion. I'm more than happy to put something about the DNR on our agenda in a future meeting, so we can discuss that and see if there's a way we can move forward and with that, but.
What about the property owners downstream that have not had a chance, that don't even know that they're about to get their zoning changed and have had no input into this? Zero. What happens to them? What about their rights?
Gone.
Yeah, they just
If
would
this,
feel like they're forced to.
yeah,
But they would have the same appeals process, correct?
And they also would have a separate public hearing. This is only for this property.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they
but
could,
Thing only extends the limits of these properties in front of you right now. In a separate zoning map amendment in the coming months, we will have them mapped and they will have their own time to come to a public hearing. And you'll have the same process over again.
And the proposal for those properties will reflect what the town has those areas zoned. At the end of the day, this.
What
vote-
about, won't they have to go into shoreland?
Yes, they already are.
Mhm.
Once the DNR made that determination,
Well,
they're
well-
shoreline.
So won't we have to approve that overlay as well?
You will.
You
in the
will.
Coming months, yep. This was
Okay.
the first one on the list because they had an application that they submitted to us.
this vote today will set precedent for what's coming down the pipeline,
I know it will.
Mhm.
because they're gonna say, you did this, so you have to do this.
Mhm.
My question to you is, the R2, the R3 and R4 is because that stream, I'll call it a stream, conservancy ditch, whatever you wanna call it, goes through all the areas in the plat that are gonna be suburban residential, duplex residential, parts of that plat
Correct.
are all. You see where we're going? This is gonna. set
I understand that, but at the end of the day, the DNR made the decision.
Yeah.
That's done.
Done.
This is shoreland.
Yeah.
Currently, the map looks white. Which means the owners of those properties can't do anything. We, as the county, have to put some sort of color on the map. And at the end of the day, this is single family, two family and multifamily, which is about the least amount of impact.
And it's what they requested.
But a caveat side of this that development, it's going, great guns, we saw it when we went viewing,
This committee approved the preliminary plat
so that.
with the
owner-
condition of what this request is.
Yeah.
That was a condition of this committee's approval.
But they were developing way before it was brought to our attention, though.
No,
Mm-mm.
they weren't.
When we went out there? Okay,
Doing- there's-
That was
First
storm,
time
that
out
was
there.
stormwater.
Okay.
First time out there, nothing. Recently viewing lots going on, Tonka Toys.
And that's part of the approval of the stormwater and erosion control.
Because as the preliminary plat was approved, the developers thought, we've gotta go, we just gotta finalize some of these little pieces of the puzzle. I don't know how you can vote for this and not vote for what's coming down the pipeline then. How can you change your perspective when it's the same waterway coming back at us from a different angle? This
I
isn't-
hate to interrupt, but I only have 5 minutes left, so I'll be going off the record at 8 o'clock.
Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
Abstention is a no, right?
Yeah. Always was anyways.
Might as well vote.
Yeah, this is a tough one because I don't wanna, I don't wanna hold up their development, I don't.
That's not the intent, no.
No, that's not the intent of this. I have no problem with this, the zoning change from agriculture to R1 and R2 and whatever it is, that's fine. I think the development should go through. But I don't think that I just disagree with this being. I don't want to go on record as approving this as being shoreland. And that's what we're being asked to do.
No, we're being asked to zone what's already been told to us is shoreland. That's
Well,
what that's what we're being asked to do today. What regardless of what we decide today, it's gonna be shoreland tomorrow. It's shoreland today.
And we'll be back right here next month with a proposal to.
Make it
County
shoreland
zoning.
zoning.
And I should mention, the applicants, I would assume, probably would appeal your decision if it's of negative or denial, so.
And would most likely win.
We should say that shouldn't have any effect on our
It
decision.
should not, but I just wanna make you guys.
I would appeal if I were that applicant and I was turned down, I would appeal.
They're pretty gung ho about this. They
And
are
that
already-
won't, that's not gonna snag him up because he's already started the development. If you
That's
came
right.
back next month, right?
This would impact their variance because they could not do any construction within 300 feet.
Okay,
And the variance is only good for 1 year, so after that 1 year is up, say this goes on down the road. They would have to come back in for another variance,
Mhm.
and then you have a whole nother board of adjustment to convince, hey. We weren't able to meet this because this, and this, and you're pushing this off further down the road. And I don't know what they are for their financial situation, I mean, there's. A lot.
And again, if they were upset about this, they would have appealed, they would have gotten a
They
second.
would have
opinion.
asked
They
for
would
a
have
second
stated it at the
opinion.
public hearing as well.
twice. They were at the, there was no mention from them at the public hearing.
No.
And maybe this is just an easier way out for them. Because it can be done through the county and. it resolves what they want to do. I guess we vote on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like I said, the DNR is not well loved, especially when it comes to
A lot of things.
actually a lot of stuff in planning and zoning. I won't even go into the hunting and fishing aspect, but just in planning and zoning alone, they're not.
So if we vote number 1 down, we don't even bother voting on 2,
Correct.
That's correct.
as you mentioned the other night, you have to do that first.
So
And again, I will reiterate. The preliminary plat was approved a month ago, and one of the conditions was that they conduct this zoning change.
Mhm.
Seeing no other discussion,
Do a roll call.
We'll call if I were you.
okay, well, we're close enough to 8 o'clock. I'll make sure our, does our, you guys, or do we have the secretary keep track, or
It's on Zoom.
Please go ahead.
just, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we will do a roll call. Supervisor Egan,
Aye.
Supervisor Gabbard,
No,
Supervisor Miller,
Um, vote aye.
Supervisor Zester,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, that passes 4-1. Okay. Item number 2 is Scholar Ridge Estates. Parcel south of intersection at County Road Devine and Martin Drive, Town of Clayton, final plat adjourned from September.
Staff report is as follows. This is phase 1 of Scholar Ridge Estates. It's a final plat. The final plat for phase 1 of Scholar Ridge Estates has been submitted for approval. The plat conforms to preliminary and is entitled to approval. Recommendation is for approval.
Thank you.
So moved.
Okay, have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion that we haven't covered already, I guess. Okay, not seeing any. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes.
I didn't say anything.
Item number 3, storage by Black Wolf, 3687 Fond du Lac Road, Town of Black Wolf, conditional use permit review.
So we viewed this a couple weeks ago. Staff didn't see any issues with what they were approved for, so we're looking for a consensus that we don't need to review this again unless there's a complaint.
I moved to now.
No,
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 nothing.
just a consent,
Don't need to do it again. Unless you have complaints.
right? And we had no complaints. The lighting was conformed with what they proposed.
I guess any discussion,
Mm-mm.
anybody? Looks like unanimous consent, with nobody having anything to say otherwise. Okay, move on to item number 4, Green Meadow Enterprises, 4304 County Road N, Town of McCamey, conditional use permit review.
The same thing as before. We viewed this property a couple weeks ago. We didn't see anything that looked that wasn't proposed or approved. Staff again is recommending a consensus of no need to view this further unless there's a complaint.
Any discussion, any disagreement?
Mr. Chairman, I should probably have, not said no, but abstain on 3 and 4, because I wasn't out there with you guys on the viewing, so. It don't really matter. I've seen them before, but just so it's in the record, I wasn't there.
Seeing as we're not taking an official
Right.
vote, but yeah,
So
I
it's-
understand. Well, we didn't know you could have gone out there on your own too.
I have, but I wasn't there, so.
Any other discussion on this? All right, with nothing else on the agenda,
Make a motion, we adjourn.
all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We adjourn.
Yeah.
All right, I will call this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Committee to order. First item on the agenda of today's meeting is the approval of minutes from October 6th, deliberative and planning, October 27th viewing, and October 31st, public hearing.
I can't make a motion because I wasn't at the October 6th. So,
Wasn't that on 7/31st, so I can't either.
Okay,
Oh,
I will
there you
make
go.
I'll move to approve item number 1. Wait a second.
That's the,
approving the minutes.
oh, yeah, I wasn't at the 27th. either. So.
Shauna?
Second.
There we go.
So how are we all gonna vote on this then? Do we make exceptions to where we weren't?
You could do them separately. You could do each.
Good idea.
Okay, hold on, let me
Yeah.
check what we have for a quorum for each one.
Okay.
Who was at October sixth?
I was.
I think I was.
I was,
Okay, so that,
so I'm not gonna, vote.
okay, 27th,
I was there.
I was not.
I was not. Just
yeah,
you three.
so it's
Yeah.
three that like the viewing. And
Yeah,
then the
31st.
public hearing, I think. we all-
31st, I was not.
So we have to vote for that one. Okay,
Okay,
so this one was. This one is Tom. And this one is.
I think you got her.
Okay. So. The two people who were at all three meetings have made a motion to approve all three meetings,
Yep,
so we have that covered. So we will take, in an effort to. Have a quorum for each one, well, we have a quorum for each
I'll
one,
just abstain,
So-
or I need to abstain. Cause I wasn't.
Yeah, I'll do
there.
that too.
I will do that as well.
well, if all three. But
Will abstain from the ones that I was not at.
right, which means we will have a quorum for all of them, is that, am I able to do this way? That we,
Should be good.
Mr. Chairman, I'll abstain from October 27th and October 31st.
And I'll
Oh.
abstain from October sixth.
I'll abstain from October 27th.
okay, there, we have it all on the record.
Make a box.
So all those in favor of approving the minutes for the meetings they were at. Signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? There's a quorum for all three, so that the minutes pass. We got that one started straightened out.
Somebody does.
I do see we have somebody here. Do you have a comment on any of our agenda items today?
I presume I'm at the right meeting. I'm Richard Ames, owner of 3262, 3266, and 3270 Sherwood Drive. And I want to take 3266 and tear it down and move it from 5 feet from the road, move it back to 25 feet from the road.
Do,
Mr. Ames,
This-
not to interrupt. That was the Board of Adjustment. They meant yesterday morning.
Oh, God, they didn't tell me about that.
Okay.
It's not on your schedule.
It was on the Board of Adjustment schedule. That goes to the Board of Adjustment, not the Planning and Zoning Committee.
Do we have any idea whether
They denied. So you can get
Even
more,
though this
you can
may-
get more information at the office window.
Thank you.
You bet.
Okay. Nobody on Zoom, correct?
Nobody on Zoom.
Okay, moving on to item number 3, shoreline zoning discussion and attachments.
Mr. Chairman, I can, if you don't mind, I can,
Feel free.
I was, in conversations with Corporation Counsel's office and the county executive's office regarding this issue. Corporation Counsel wanted me to distribute this. She wanted to be here today, but she was off today, so she wanted me to distribute this to the committee, simply to have it in your hands. It includes 2 sets of correspondence, one from the Corporation Counsel's office to the town of Winchester, and another correspondence from the county executive's office to the town of Winchester. Just, you can either read it now, later, whenever, but she did want me to. Okay. And essentially, the matter is currently under review by the county executive's office, meaning the whole shoreland issue. It's under review by the county executive's office and the corporation counsel's office. The corporation counsel's office is beginning a process to request a AG, Attorney General's opinion in regard to the whole shoreland matter. Marianne Mueller will be pursuing that with in the coming days here. So that's where the matter sits at this point. I just wanted to inform the committee on that, and then eventually this committee will be, a report would be made back to the committee at some point when both the corporation counsel's office and the county executive's office is prepared to do that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a question, and I don't know, I'm just
Sure.
hearing from the chairman of Winchester, which I know him also.
Right.
He kept on saying like you guys wouldn't answer his questions or whatever. Is that true? Or you didn't want to answer, or you couldn't answer, or?
No, that's not how we operate.
Right, and that's what I figured, but I just,
I
know how
I
mad
think
it
it
is.
has a lot to do with the answer, he may be looking for a certain answer and he's not getting it,
Mhm.
and so. I'm not,
Right, I didn't figure
yeah,
it
but
that way, but
I
that's,
appreciate that, Tom,
So-
yes. But, that's not the case.
thank you.
I'm willing to wait until we hear the report. I do, just for the record. I want to, let's see, where is that? I want to make everybody aware of something else I found. If I can find it now. It was there it is, a Supreme Court case, Wisconsin Supreme Court case. It's number 20. If you want to look this up, it's 2018 AP 547.
Can you repeat that once more, Holly? Sorry.
2018 AP
AP
547.
547. Thank you.
Okay. January 27th, 2021. And it's Michael Anderson versus the town of Newbold.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
just to read a couple of the majority opinion on this case, it says, Anderson contends that the town's minimum shoreland frontage requirements is unenforceable because it is a shoreland zoning regulation that the town does not have the authority to enact. The town, on the other hand, argues that the requirement is permissible exercise of its subdivision authority. We conclude that the town ordinance at issue is a permissible exercise of the town's subdivision authority pursuant to Wisconsin statute 236.45. The town thus proceeded in a correct theory of law when it deemed Anderson's request to subdivide his property in a way that would be that would contravene the ordinance. In other words, the state Supreme Court held up the town's authority to have jurisdiction in shoreland.
Can I comment on that real quick?
Yeah,
That's absolutely correct. When it comes to subdivision, town subdivision authority and county subdivision authority, they're completely separate and distinct. towns have every right to create a subdivision ordinance. Administer that ordinance as it sees fit. As well as the county, it's a separate, they're completely separate. When it comes to zoning, it's a different matter, but when it comes to subdivision, that's absolutely correct. That's how we operate when it comes to subdivision. That's
Well, this,
when you're talking about a subdivision ordinance, the town can regulate its subdivision ordinance within shoreland areas. That's absolutely correct. When it comes to land use, when it comes to zoning, now that's another matter, but that decision is spot on.
yeah, well, this was, dividing one parcel into
Sure.
two is all this was.
Exactly. And sometimes those two ordinances, meaning a town subdivision ordinance and a county subdivision ordinance. In the end, what really what happens with the property owner is whatever ordinance ends up being more restrictive is actually what happens out there. But typically those ordinances are separate and distinct, and you guys or towns have every right to create a subdivision ordinance and administer that ordinance, even within shoreland areas. Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's actually the way, that's the way it's been done. Sure. So, but when it comes to zoning, it's a different animal. So,
Okay.
Just make a comment.
sure.
So we've got a lot of opinions out there
Mhm.
in our packet. We've got Mary Ann's.
Sure.
And I asked her to be here today when we were in budget.
Yeah,
She goes,
yeah. you said
I
that.
won't be anytime after that. And I said, well. And we've got the Wisconsin legislative opinion,
Yeah,
and I'm thinking we're gonna have another opinion coming down the pipeline. So all they are opinions. We
Yeah.
have our opinions.
in the end, unless it gets, runs through the court system, and Supervisor Miller here pointed out a Supreme Court case, unless this, goes through the court system,
Mhm.
gets adjudicated in court
It's just an
at
opinion.
one level or another. In the end, these are interpretations.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Who is our Attorney General?
Call.
Okay,
Josh Cole.
I could picture him, but
That's why I mentioned that about opinions. He'll come with an opinion.
Yeah.
Cause he's good at opinions. So
They, is it with this,
because
as it was described to me, by getting an Attorney General opinion, it's probably the highest. It's the way it's been described to me anyways, on Attorney General opinions, it's the highest of state authority.
Correct.
When it comes to state statutes, so. You can get opinions from legislative council or other attorneys but apparently, by getting an Attorney General opinion. It does have probably the most credibility. Of any other opinions.
Because of the office.
Yeah, because of the office.
Postal.
Now, you can argue that, I'm
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
unless it goes through the court system and start having judges look at it. And, and ultimately, I guess, up to the Supreme Court, to create some finality in the matter, but, there you are, so.
I guess I just wonder, and I've heard his opinion, our county executive, John Damel, what does he really know on this? He wrote a thing, then he put all of our names on the bottom and this and that, but he
Yeah,
really
yeah.
isn't in this field whatsoever. I think.
Yeah, part of it, what I think the county executive's office is doing, they're reaching out to the town.
Yes.
Asking for additional information, and I think that's identified in John's letter. Asking for more information. You know, they're collecting information, and at the same time. You know, his office is corresponding with corp counsel. To look at the legal side of it, and so,
Just so that's where it is the
Yeah.
legal side of it,
Yeah.
you guys is,
yeah,
I mean, that
We're-
position is a
and
high
we're-
position in our
Yeah.
county, but I don't think. He's in the planning and zoning department, so.
in the end, his office is responsible for any and all ordinances that get administered in the county. It's his office that is responsible for those ordinances. And to make sure they're carried out properly and make sure that, the various departments that have various county ordinances are doing their jobs and carrying things out. So.
Okay.
So they're making, connections, they're doing some correspondence with the town, asking for additional information, and I think there's been some discussion back and forth. I haven't been directly involved, but I think there's been discussion back and forth between the county executive's office. And the town chairman at the town of Winchester. And with the corporation counsel's office, so. And I was just told yesterday that the corporation counsel's office is in course, in correspondence with the county executive's office that they would like to seek an attorney general's opinion on county shoreland zoning and on that whole issue. The legalities of it, all the, and so that's where it stands.
Cause I know Town Oshkosh always said. Their
Since you
chairman,
brought that up.
well, I was
I'll
figured you were
discuss
going
it.
to bring it up, but.
So you guys are all aware, you've got to be aware of how the towns sit on certain things.
Sure.
NR 115, again, DNR, our township leaders right now, they get NR 115. They know that's rock solid, can't touch that with a 10-foot pole. But there are little innuendos
Mhm.
happening in our township. That's one of them, Dr. Ames, okay? So you know where I'm going with this. He is gonna appeal that, okay? So we're so limited. Somebody wants to do something and we go, that's shoreland. So our perspective as a town, and I talked to Jim Erdman the other day, he went to see John, and after he talked to Ethan for a while, he figured John was not the guy other than the authoritarian part of it. Ethan had more backdrop on this
Well,
than
he's
John did
involved,
because
yes, I mean, yeah.
he's well versed in it, but he
Yes.
belongs to that office, so
Sure.
John will know about this.
Yes,
So our town is standing right now saying, you keep the fees. We don't care about the fees. Let the town have shoreland zoning. Other than NR 115. That's all it's about. They're to the point. And whether it's right or wrong, their take is get that out of 23. Give it back to the towns. We have a lot of shoreland. Black Wolf has a lot of shoreland, Algoma. And we understand that. That's why I brought up all these opinions. All these opinions are great documents to read, but they're somebody's opinion. And when you read 3 or 4 of them, you go on any given day, anybody can have an opinion. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. I didn't think it was a big issue in our town.
Mhm.
And it hasn't been, but now it is because we've got people that want to do things. And we say that should be a no-brainer or simple, and it turns out not to be. And the clarity isn't there. So we just want everybody to take a look at this. That's all we're
sure,
asking.
that's fine.
Do I
Yeah,
think it's
and I think
actually
that's
gonna
what's
get
happening.
changed? Probably not. But I'd like it looked at and make sure
Right,
that everybody really understands, because we're not gonna have the same town chairman or town board in the
Right.
future.
sure.
We got people that got the history, but they're gonna disappear.
Yeah.
So I know Ethan has a stack of documents that he's gathered up, and it could be from lobbyists, could be from whatever, okay?
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought that,
I don't-
and I don't wanna know at this point. But I thought the towns, for the most part, and the county had a good symbiotic relationship going. We'll always be at odds on certain things. And I believe in our town, we don't have a subdivision ordinance. We went with yours. Because why would we not take, we thought yours was
Yeah.
good. So we haven't had a lot of issues, but because of this Matt Woods speech at the county board and people talk to other people, Jim has not really talked to Matt. He went up there on his own to the
Mhm.
office just to see what was going on and had an hour conversation. So we're in the mix, but we're not in the mix, if you know what I mean.
Sure,
We're not
sure.
sending a letter.
Absolutely. Mhm.
We're just gonna see what happens here.
Good. Good.
And we'll wait for the other opinion, but I don't know how long it takes to get. an
No, I'm
opinion.
not really sure either. I,
Me either.
not really.
So it's not like we've got. And that's what made me vote today no for this other item, because I'm upset with the DNR.
Sure,
Not with you
I
guys.
get it, yeah.
But then maybe I should have voted no for the final plat, but I voted for the preliminary.
Mm.
I don't want it stopped. I mean, my gosh, that's not what this is about. There is a lot of cloudiness.
Yeah, and, no, and I think, you know. The county executive's office is, it's addressing the concern, it's
Mhm.
trying to address the concerns of the town of Winchester in regard to this. And, so it's not just, they're not just turning a blind eye to it.
No,
And we as staff, I mean, me as planning director and dealing with this stuff over the years and, and the staff that deals with this stuff. To get further clarification or confirmation or whatever that might be, from an attorney general's opinion. I think it has a lot of weight and credibility. And, again, short of something going to court, it probably has the most credibility and I invite that, and if there's something from an attorney general opinion that we here at Winnebago County, we're doing wrong or not doing it the way we should be, I want to know that. But,
or doing it right.
or doing it right, or confirming that we are doing it right,
Mhm.
So, so that's where it's at.
Sean,
Did you read, Jerry, did you read the feedback from, the Wisconsin Legislative Council, their opinion?
Yeah, I read that.
What did you think about it?
Well, I mean, I think they're trying to walk both sides of the line here. In that interpretation, meaning on the one hand, they're saying county's got the authority, and then on the other hand, well, it really needs to go to court to be really fine, that it's really hard to say whether counties really in the end have the. I would, so they're trying to play both sides of it, I think, in that particular.
So like on page 3, the highlighted area that. Okay, it says taken together, those enactments arguably suggest a legislative intent to allow towns rather than counties to decide how land use restrictions that are not particular to shorelands should apply in shoreland areas if the town has enacted a zoning ordinance to do so.
But that runs counter to a lot of the.
but the next line just says what you were
Yeah.
saying, however, a court decision would be needed to answer this question authoritatively.
Like
Like you said, they're writing both sides of the.
Well,
I
authoritative-
really don't want it. I mean, we can sit and argue that stuff all day.
I know, but where you get the opinions, and they are opinions.
Right.
And I hear the setting the table for the Attorney General. But I don't agree with the Attorney General on a lot of stuff when it comes to constitutional rights.
Look. I'm right.
Property
don't- I
rights.
don't-
Property rights are one of the most important things, and I'm representing my constituents, we're representing we're the elected part of it. And I often feel going to WCA conferences and so on, top down.
Mhm, yeah. Well,
And I'm not saying that I'm just saying. Are we gonna just say whatever the Attorney General says is, yep, that's what we'll do? Do we have any say in that, or?
I think if there's some attorney general's opinion and it comes down that really throws the ball back into the town's court, meaning the town's got all of the,
They're never gonna say that.
What, I'm just saying
Okay.
that if there's some significant change that we need to make here at the county, that's fine. If the attorney general comes down and, look, I'm not gonna get into, legal authority but if we're instructed as a department,
Yeah.
based on an attorney general's opinion or some other avenue here, that we're not doing things the way we're supposed to be doing, I'd be the first one to dive in and change it, based on what we should be doing,
Yeah,
or,
and I don't want to negate what this person is saying here just by saying,
I don't
let's let the court decide. They're just saying, we can't authoritatively. I don't see that they're writing both sides of the fence there.
I think that's always my impression. They're
That's
trying
how I
to say
took
that
it
counties
too.
do, and then they say, but then the towns do, and then, I think they're trying to ride the fence there, but.
Okay.
Just that was my reaction to it, but. Again, it's one attorney's opinion and again, Mary, our corporation counsel got a different opinion.
Mhm.
That's why there was this push to say,
Yeah.
let's get an attorney general's opinion.
Yeah.
They're. I don't know what else to say.
You said it well. I mean, yeah, I appreciate it sounds to me like there's discussion between the
Well, and I was gonna say, I
powers
think we understand, I think staff understands going forward. This committee would like to be kept abreast of anything that
Yeah.
does go on,
And
so that way,
we will.
we're made aware of it. Because obviously this is an issue that we brought forward, that Howard has brought forward. And
Right.
that's something that we wanna, keep our thumb on top of and understand what's going on.
Yeah, let's not lose sight of this. Let's put it on the agenda for their next meeting as well, so that we can.
Yeah, and I, at
keep
that
abreast
point,
of it.
the hope is that we.
Hopefully we'll have more
Yeah,
information
and
next time we
corporation
meet.
counsel can be present or someone
Sure.
in the county executive's office could be present and, So, if there's anything to report by that time, I don't know, but we'll see.
We'll see.
But we'll keep
Yeah,
it,
let's-
It's
keep
it's
putting it
actually
on.
we'll
not
keep
a-
it front and center.
It's
We'll
not,
keep it front
not a
and
bad
center.
idea to have it on the next agenda if we can get,
Mary
if
Ann.
we get Mary Ann here. Just to get her input, to lace over,
Well-
she can say, well, this is, there's not gonna be a decision made for a few months, but. I can let Jerry know that I'm
Yeah.
keeping him abreast of
Right,
what's been going on with it, so, and then Jerry can
Yeah.
report to us, so.
Sure.
Yep,
Yep.
but absolutely, we're.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we
Yeah.
have any disagreement on that from anyone. I'm kind of
Sure.
looking around to see any heads shaking. Any other discussion on the shoreline zoning? All right, move on to item number 4. Review and adopt the 2024 planning and zoning meeting schedule.
Chairman,
Yes,
we've always done this time in committee and staff, but. If what goes through this next month where these new committee gets
Oh.
developed or whatever, at that time, there will. The way it's being planned anyways, there'll only be one person on each committee, so that could take a lot of people off this committee, because in other words, you could be on this committee, but that means you can't be on any other committee.
Oh,
You're on 3 and different ones are on different committees, so that could change. a lot of
Yeah.
things coming up and
That's a very good point.
by rights, the way it was worded is like the committees are supposed to be at after 6 o'clock at night unless the whole committee decides, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanna just leave it as is, or you wanna plan it now, it don't matter to me, but I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
But I thought that
Yeah.
everybody understood planning and zoning had to have court reporters at 2 of their meetings,
Right.
and she's only available at certain times.
Right, so I'm just bringing that up, planning and zoning might stay the same, but still, like I said, if they have it like they want it. And only you're on one committee,
Wow, I
Yeah.
hadn't heard that.
well, so
That'll be an interesting meeting.
that was brought up that, because I went and spoke at the last one, and I said, well, that isn't right, it isn't gonna say we're gotta have 36 people, while Shauna was on. You know, we got 36 board members, why about the representation, all this and that, well. They, at that time, they had 35, so then they come back and they said, well, what about if we had one more to Public Works, and so that would give the one more, so then there'd be 36 board members. I don't know what amendments will
where that
be or
goes.
whatever happens, or if things will be changed between now and then. It seems like it gets changed every now and then, before it even comes to committee, but I just want to bring this up. If you want to do it now, I'm fine with it. But I just,
But we've got to have something for Joe Public to know that this is the process, and you file your paperwork and then we have a public hearing. That leaves the constituents hanging out there not knowing what's
How
going on.
soon, Tom, do you?
next month. it'll
Yeah,
be
this
decided.
next month, so
We could take this up next month.
do you want to do this in December then, or?
But then I gotta finish it. This will be a recommendation. Now, when your whole new board comes in, they can say, well, we
Well,
wanna
that's
go
right,
back,
because.
we wanna go back
still
the other
gotta
way.
wait.
Well-
Still gotta wait.
But, so you do what you want. If you wanna set it for this and say, this is
Set it
when
and then-
planning and zoning meets, if you're on there, this is the way it goes.
Set it
Yes, and
because-
I just wanna nip this one in the bud, because having the experience now of being here. October,
Mhm.
the meeting on the 29th, is that going to be budget night?
Could
Wait and
be.
see. Could be very well.
That was kind of an oxymoron. We had a
Cause
planning and zoning on the second day of budget.
Yeah, so we, you know,
But we made it.
so you
because-
might wanna consider, so,
I just bring that
yeah,
up.
however you guys do it.
Can it be flexible if we approve this
I-
and then alter it?
You can
Because
change it.
if we'd approve this,
Yeah.
the first part of 24 should work fine.
Or
Cause
maybe do it by quarters or.
we're
or
not
something.
off the board yet. So we could,
Do it up to April or whatever.
right, we could help I call it Joe Public's, Sam Smith, whatever you wanna call it. They would have an idea for the first
Yeah.
January, February, March, April.
Mhm. Yeah, you
So
could,
I'm saying either we approve this whole thing and then let somebody, wow. We shouldn't be spending that much time on this, but amend it.
Well, I just wanted to bring it forward,
Yeah, you
so.
got a good point.
Right, yeah, I definitely have a feeling the 29th, that being that Tuesday, that's probably going to be the night meeting. So that meeting, if we can nip that one in the bud now
For 10/29.
for
and
10/29, I think we could.
okay.
I don't know how you can do that, cause if that would be a Tuesday, we
Mhm.
always open budget on a Monday. Night, and then we come back on a Tuesday for during the day. But we didn't know how long we were gonna run on that Tuesday, the Halloween deal that we just had.
Or if we just went, so staff knew at least through April 1st, with that long, and then
And then,
who the new members are, they can.
we can come
that-
back with
Yeah.
the schedule for the remaining year
Yeah.
or whatever.
Put the
Does
schedule.
that work, Brian? If we went through April 1st and,
Just to get something that.
right, so you guys knew
Mhm.
when to
What
set
day
up
is
hearings and
election
all
day
that.
next year?
Sure.
That would
I
be-
don't know. How would I know what days
No,
election?
the
day?
third, the public hearing is a Tuesday, so it's gonna be 14, 20, so it'll be the second, so. So.
Deliberative is a Friday. So. Fourth, third, is April 2nd, the election day.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, nothing will get done right then, so you could almost go through April, couldn't you?
Right. Cause he won't get sworn in until. The meeting, so.
Yeah, till the end of April or.
So
towards
just
the
pass,
end.
yeah, just pass it through the end of April,
Mhm.
which would be
That's
the
all
first
we
three
can do.
lines,
The
and then let the new,
first four.
Or,
months.
or the end of March, whatever. I see you've got a
Yeah.
public hearing on 4:30. Viewing 4:26.
pass it through, let's see, 423,
But
420.
before when you get reelected, you still stay on the committee you're on.
So the
Right,
sixth,
that's what I'm saying, if you go through.
so if the second, if or April 2nd's the first Tuesday, the 16th would be the third Tuesday. When they would be getting sworn in. So
Should
if we
be.
passed it through the first three lines, which would be through the 23rd. That's through the county board action,
Unless you have runoffs or something.
yeah,
Let's do something so that we got
Right.
some
I agree,
consistency.
but I just want to
January,
bring that
February, March,
forward.
but yeah, you muddied the water, so now we got.
or we can pass it, in its entirety for review at the.
And know that it's gonna,
It would
at
be
the
at,
planning meeting.
it would be at the May 10th meeting.
I wouldn't say planning meeting, I'd say first, no one's appointed to the committee. Let's say planning.
For reconsideration under the new committee. Just leave it at that. Can do it at their leisure and
What you guys think?
I think that you gave me some information today I don't like about the committees.
Well, like I say, that could be changed.
That could be
But
changed,
Yeah.
It seems like things get changed in
Yeah.
that group.
yeah.
so. I guess,
Okay.
seeing as I can make.
I
motions-
say, I
Seeing as I
think
can
we
see,
do it in entirety and then,
seeing as I can do it, seeing as I can make a motion, how about this? We pass this in its entirety. For review by the, at the leisure of the incoming committee after the election. So that's my
Second.
motion and
Second.
second, so. Moving second, now let's discuss.
just so you know that that's probably
Yeah,
in the pipeline.
oh, yeah, yep,
It's only fair for them to get a crack at it and,
yeah, no, fair enough. You bet.
and when it does come back, if you can help, if I am not on here, not the chairman, to remind whoever it is about October.
Yeah, but
October 29th.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we don't run it,
yeah, they're already, it's been a long day,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
so with, is there any other discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Okay.
Any opposed? Passes,
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
so moved and second, any discussion?
I just wondered about the email that I had sent about some of the things I wanted on the agenda. If that could be on the next agenda, or, because like Rouge was one of them. And the flood storage, this flood storage,
I'm trying to remember right now,
or do we adjourn and then I talk to you about it?
yes, let's adjourn and then talk to me about it.
We are.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Well, we didn't vote yet.
yeah, all those in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
No.
opposed? Now we're adjourned.